All right, we are live. And because this is an afternoon one, these tend to fill up real quick. But most of the views come within the next 24 hours after I do one of these. So a reminder for the people who watch it after the fact, please subscribe down below. Join my Orc Army down below. Follow me on Instagram and use my Amazon affiliate link before you make purchases. It's all down below. But like I said, these fill up real quick in the afternoon. I don't have to wait long for questions to come in. And yeah, already we're less than a minute in. I already have about 9 people in. Likes are rolling in. So, hey guys, don't waste up your early slots because I have to put a timer for when it fills up because I get overloaded with questions. You guys can't post again for 2 minutes. So if you tell me, hi, I have a question ready if you have one. It's an FYI, guys, because of that timer. And I have to put that because I can't keep up with the questions once we get 30 minutes deep. They scroll through twice the speed that I can handle them. So don't waste your first post on a telling me hello. Ask your question right afterwards, right? So welcome aboard, guys. People are coming in and then dropping back out. That's weird. We had like 12. It's down to 7. Everyone's dropping out. What are they having to do? Now that's weird. I've never had that happen before. Normally it fills up fast. This time it was up and then it dropped down to 6 people view. And there it goes. It's coming back up. Hey guys, for those of you trickling in, remember, because I have to put that timer, don't waste your first post on telling me hello. Go ahead. If you have a question ready, say hello and then ask your question, guys. It'll flow a lot better for you. Because I had to put that 2-minute timer because this stuff gets overwhelming once we get about 100 people in here, right? So I've got to limit the number of questions per few minutes that you can do. So I got a couple questions here. Let's go ahead and get started answering your questions. How would you readjust your novice LP program for someone who can't press because of injury, irritation, bench 3 times a week, or how so? In all honesty, you may not even need to bench twice a week. I mean, or 3 times a week. You could on it. Just keep in mind, man, that is a lot of benching. Okay. If we were to try to adjust that program, I might even rewrite a novice program with no overhead press now that I think about it, right? A 3.0. That may not be a bad idea, brother. Now that you bring it up, that way, then I can just have a program and maybe something I'll work on in the future. But what I'm going to say is you can't really afford any other pressing if you're going to bench 3 times a week, even on that program. You could do a little bit of tricep work, and that's about all you can handle. Everyone else telling me hello. Hey, Jason, have your thoughts changed on Turkestone since your last stint? Sat, my thoughts on Turkestone haven't changed in over 10 years. It's been a scam for 20 years. Okay. The best experts all agree. The only people who keep recycling it are the people who know the younger kids are too stupid or ignorant to know any better. Right? Because they forget you younger guys haven't been in the game for 10 or 15 or 20 years. So you don't know that this is a failed supplement that's been recycled multiple times that doesn't have human trials to support it, right? So you guys are unaware of that. All the old school guys know it's been bullshit for 15 years. But these people, the guys who sell this stuff, prey on you guys. Like you're basically their prey. They're basically treating you in a predatory manner by selling you this useless garbage and trying to convince you it works. It's actually pretty insidious. All right. What's the difference in progress, if any, did you find with your Indian clients versus others? Interesting. And I don't like to discuss those things too much because if you ever imply there's slightly different gene flow, possibly between any ethnic group anywhere on earth, you're labeled a racist. But when I'm dealing with clients, I can't worry about that. My goal is to get the client the best results possible. Just I don't discuss it always publicly. All I will say is that I have found that South Asian males can make the same progress, but they usually require slightly more training volume. They require slightly more training volume, particularly in the upper body. And as long as that's addressed, the gains are actually the same. That's the reason a lot of South Asian men get labeled as hard gainers. There's a slight difference in the muscle fiber density, and that's been found at universities in India have actually determined that. A friend of mine who she's Indian and a powerlifter sent me some studies from India on that a while back, and that's actually the case. But you can compensate for that with slightly more training volume, and as soon as you do that, the muscle growth seems to pretty much parallel. I detrained for 6 months, coming back to gym already. The month getting my strength back, doing full body 3 to 4 times a week. Will be good program to follow. If I can't follow conjugate, follow 531. Good bulking foods if you struggle to bulk. And guys, here's the thing. Only hard gainers are struggling to bulk, or people who eat too clean. And I'm big on clean eating. But what I mean by too clean is you guys try to eat really low fat and a lot of fiber, right? What's recommended at the morbidly obese in America do to lose weight. Because oftentimes we confuse healthy eating with fat loss. Because in America, anything that makes you lose weight is healthy because everyone's fucking fat. Everyone gets healthier if they lose weight almost in America. So good bulking foods, anything with more fat in it. Right? Just more dietary fat, as long as it's quality fat. Dairy, peanut butter, things like that. That would be awesome. And what would be a pressing substitute in that case if not benching 3 times? I mean, no, you could bench 3 times a week. Just be aware you're not doing any other pressing if you do that on that program. Luke, one of my work warriors, is it okay if I do 10 sets of rows and 5 sets of inverted rows a week? Maybe. That's a lot of volume, Luke, but depending upon your work capacity, you can get away with it. Do you have any experience with radial nerve pain caused through lifting? It first occurred during squats in my elbows, but now I start. No, I don't usually. Flying Dutch, it's your form. It's your form. It's the way you're gripping the bar. You're probably gripping the bar too narrow for your shoulder structure, and you're not pulling down on the bar. You may need to widen your grip, tuck your elbows down so that you can actively pull the bar down. Now you've already inflamed it, so you may need to deload, but it's the way you're gripping the bar on your squat that's causing that. What are your thoughts on the 804 bench by Daniel? Do you think, Sap, we don't really know, right? We don't know until he does it in an official contest, and it doesn't count. I mean, it just is what it is. There's the possibility, mainly because of the country it's happening in, and his almost refusal to get on a platform makes it questionable. And Sap, what a lot of people are questioning is because this guy never even benched 500 in competition raw, and then all of a sudden has an 800. Now, it might be legit. I'll reserve judgment until he gets on a platform, right? Because I don't want to say that someone's faking something if I don't have proof. It's suspect, but it might actually be legit. You know what I mean? Like we can't just automatically say, oh, that's fake plates. Let's let him get on a platform and see. Family members just tested C positive who lives with me. I'm fine and keep training, but don't want to catch it. I hate getting sick, even with basic flu. Marco, you may not know if you catch it. Most people are asymptomatic. Is 250 milligrams of test a week worth it, or should I do 500? 250 is like for people who are cruising, who use year round. Ryan, you're not going to be overly impressed with 250. Hey, Jason, is tricep activation that difference between medium bench and closed grip bench? I don't know, Alex. It actually depends on the lifter and your experience level. More novice lifters, it clearly is in the studies. But when we look at competitive power lifters and they've hooked EMGs up, it's actually the same. So it depends on how advanced and strong you are. But the thing to remember also is the more advanced we get, the higher your muscle activation is, even with lightweight and all the primary movers on a multi-joint movement. Is doing just squats and deadlifts enough to maintain my gains in a cut, Luke? Possibly, but it depends. Are you still taking the collagen supplement you said you were in 2020? No, I haven't been. Raj, my protein intake is ridiculously, stupidly high. I probably wouldn't even benefit. Like, I never eat less than 300 grams of protein a day. That's my baseline right now. How do you readjust a routine if you had bad sleep and either miss the lift or miss the gym altogether? Doso, that's not good. That's going to have to be done on a case-by-case basis. but you need to get that sorted. You may need to take a couple extra days off until you get your sleep caught back up. Luke, why are you and your clients not doing rows anymore and just pull-ups? Luke, I've already discussed that in vast detail in videos. Let's not act like I haven't already discussed it 57 million times in vlogs. Some of my people still do rows. I have clients who do Pendlay rows right now. You're just not seeing them on camera. Notice some of my less experienced people are doing inverted rows, so they're still doing rows. Keeping in mind that wide grip pull-ups do work the upper back. It is a valid upper back exercise. So we're still training upper back. It's not just lats. Don't get chin-ups confused with wide grip pull-ups. Jason, if I've walked on my tiptoes since childhood, as a result, when I deadlift, I don't know how to help you there, brother. I'm sorry. The Wanderer, appreciate the donation. If doing ice cream fitness 5x5 and omitting skulls and shrugs, should I put overhead press and deadlift on different days to have even more number of multi-joint each session? I don't know, Wanderer. I actually don't know. It would really depend because I don't have the exact program in front of me. Okay, let me be honest with you. I haven't looked at my own ice cream fitness 5x5 in about 8 years. I don't remember what order the stuff is in. Just sorry. I got to be honest with you. How do you fix tight hips / glutes? Recover better. It's probably a recovery issue, and you just need to learn to squat deeper. That will fix it automatically. Hey, Jason, while you're in, we got buried there. Jason, do you have any advice for dragging a sled during bad weather? The UK, it rains a lot. It's often not a lot of friction on the grass. I thought you meant just the rain itself. Man, if you don't mind dragging when it's wet outside, go ahead. Just to go by RPE. It's going to be easier when the grass is wet, right? It's going to actually slide easier. But as long as you're going off RPE and stuff, it won't matter. It's not like we're tracking exact overload on sled drag. It's just GPP. Stop overthinking it. Overthinking GPP is the fastest way to completely fuck up. It's just conditioning work. Don't put that much thought into it. How would you add pull-ups for novices on ice cream fitness to improve grip, and how many sets and reps? Most novices can't do pull-ups. So it's kind of a moot point. We're getting buried again. I have heard clowns say that eating fruit will make you fat. Yeah, the evidence suggests otherwise. I get why people on really low carb diets aren't doing it. But if you're not following a keto type diet, avoiding fruit is actually kind of stupid. Benny, any bets on how many Zercher questions you'll get today? I will get a minimum of 3 in this live stream, and I'm going to yell at everyone who does it for being a fucktard. Hey, Jason, I've been loving these live streams when I can get on. I heard you say you do GPP every day. Do you do longer sessions on rest days? Do you do on other forms of cardio on top of it? Terry, there's no flat answer. Do you know why? Do you know why? Because I don't program it. I just drag a sled when I feel like it. Sometimes I do it on days I'm going to bench. Sometimes I do it on just the off days. Right? And I walk every day in a weighted vest. All right. Already fan of double French press? No, I think they're hard on your shoulders to do standing stuff behind the head. All right, this is getting buried again. Let me scroll down to my nearest orc warrior since they actually contribute to the channel. I'm an advanced fat lifter, so I cannot do 5x10 on wide grip pull-ups, and I dislike the inverted row. I feel nothing from it. Can I do light pull down? Luke, grip it wider. I don't care what you feel from it. Why does that matter? You know what muscles it's working. Take a wide grip like on your bench press and do the inverted rows until you get lean enough and strong enough to do pull-ups. Hey, Jason, do you have a home program only with dumbbells and body weights? Cheers. No, and I would never write such crap. If you're serious about training, you'll find a way to get a barbell. Okay? Boring. That's just the way it is. You'll go dig a ditch or do something to afford it. Bent over rows. All right, I'm just going to scroll way down. These are getting too buried. This is frustrating. Yo, Jason, first time I catch one of these, everything going well. Everything's going great, brother. Business is on point. Training's on point. Competitions are on point. Is poll a good split to follow? No. Is calories in versus calories out true, or is it hormones? books, calories in, calories out is the dominant thing that determines how much weight you lose. Hormones might affect your calories out. Composition of your diet affects muscle versus fat loss and gain. So there's a reality to both, but the overwhelming amount of evidence itself shows that tissue changes up and down are 95% caused by calories in, calories out. Now, that doesn't mean the other things don't matter. And that's where people misunderstand it. And it doesn't mean that other things don't heavily affect the calorie outside or how hungry you get. And if you're hungry all the time, it's hard to bring the calories in into check. Anything wrong with having dried and freeze-dried fruits for snacks? No sugar added, of course. No, why would there be? How should I do cable crunches on Ice Cream Fitness 505 if I don't have a crossover? Would an ab wheel suffice? You can just do weighted crunches with a plate. Lay down, put a plate on your chest, do crunches. First time doing volume deadlifts, and I definitely felt it in my quads. Very different from taking 50 kilogram off the bar, but doing high reps. Yep. Yeah, Cliff, you'll feel it in your quads. Hey, coach, I can do 5 strict pull-ups but fail to get more. Any tips to get more reps? Lose some body fat, get stronger at other pulling until you can do pull-ups. Because there's no point in just doing 5 reps on a pull-up. It's not ideal to maximize your hypertrophy, which is what you need to get better at the pull-ups. What's a good maximum level of leanness to cut down to during a cut to avoid health issues and loss of performance? For most people, I would not go under 10%, which is leaner than most people realize. I'm above 10% still. I have had even a serious expert watch me doing my pull-ups and estimate me at 14%. Consider my current body weight. That means I've got to lose 9 more pounds of body fat to be at 10%. That's over a gallon, right? 7 pounds of fat will fill a 1-gallon jug. Matt, one of my warriors, I'd love to hear you and Lyle McDonald's do it. Lyle and I love Lyle's work. Lyle doesn't particularly like me. He would probably, again, Lyle's bipolar. Keep that in mind. And I don't mean that as a joke. I mean bipolar. My understanding is that he has a legitimate diagnosis. I got 10 barbells at home and can't stand gym. All is going at home. Spot on, Jason. Yeah, that's good. How do you change your diet / workout / cardio where you're cutting under 15%? I always hit a wall there. Increase your protein, increase your sleep, watch your volume closely. Is breaking up scar tissue through deep tissue massage potentially counterproductive? Scar tissue is the body's way of healing. I don't think it actually works. I don't think you can actually break it up. There's surgeries and drugs that can be injected that can help, but massage won't do it. Yeah, William, taking ADHD meds and Adderall will be a problem with your training. Hey, this is Jack G. Which Jack? Client Jack G. How often per year have you have clients max out? Right now, I generally don't. My conjugate people, I try to keep them near training maxes, and they hit those every week. My non-conjugate people, I'm like, well, let's wait to max out till you're on a powerlifting platform. I can estimate their max at any time. So even if I have a client running 531 and they say, coach, I want to prep for a meet, I can tell them what numbers to hit on the platform before they even get there. I appreciate the donation, brother. How much and what type of cardio do you do? Right now, I mostly just walk in my weighted vest. I have a 42-pound weighted vest. I walk in it for 30 minutes every day. That's my main cardio, but I drag a sled also. Since novices can't do pull-ups, would you recommend dead hangs and how much set? See, you're overthinking this stuff. Just hang for 30 seconds here and there. What leg training would you recommend to go with boxing? Squats? Jason, did you ever get your creatine measures leveled? I hear that men should have a 60 or 100 high level indicates high muscle mass. Nope, I never had mine measured. Jason, what do you think of people who claim that overhead press is just a front delt exercise? Well, that's objectively false. Do you agree with a lot of the info Dr. Alan Bacon puts out? Yeah, I mean, not all of it, but the majority of it. He and I are friends. We actually talk. We actually talk regularly. And we don't just talk training. Hell, we talk private lives and stuff. He's on my bro list. And he wouldn't be on there if I didn't like his work. Hey, Jason, just got really sick and feeling really weak. Should I take a rest until I feel better or keep going? You need to get yourself hydrated. That's why you feel weak. You're dehydrated. Removing the shrugs from 5x5 because you have 5 multis and workout B and 3 and A, so it seems logical. Yeah, Wander, I don't know. I would have to go look. Keep in mind, I wrote that program a decade ago. And I honestly haven't looked at it in years. I don't remember what the order is. Why do you personally do pull-ups in the morning? Because I enjoy it. How's that for an answer? No other reason. Doesn't matter when they're done. I prefer doing them out in the sunshine on rest days instead of indoors in the gym. Joe Mald, I live in Houston. Motherfucker, do you think I want to be out in the sunshine? I'm Caucasian. I would fucking melt. Like, what's wrong with you, dude? I live in Houston. Look at my skin color. Do you think I want to be in that shit? Do you not understand it gets up to like 42, 43 Celsius here with 99% humidity, sometimes before the summer? Yeah, you can go fuck yourself. Jason, have you considered getting Westside Barbell Coaching certified? No. Why would I need to? Why should I spend money when I already have a very lucrative and growing coaching business? It's 10 sets of pull-ups and 5 sets of chest supported rows per week. Okay, just like you do horizontal vertical pulls. Took away barbell rows due to deadlift volume. Marco, maybe 15 is on the higher end. Just keep that in mind. What do you do for shoulders on 3-day 5-3-1? Bench press and pull-ups. Do you have clients who do not want to compete in a meet, do mock meets to test 1 rep maxes? No. Why would we need to? Thoughts on being stronger at 3? Alexander, actually, they do it on their own and then tell me about it after the fact and go, are you proud of me, coach? And then I cuss out. Thoughts on being stronger at 3 count pause bench compared to comp bench? Is it a technical issue? I have no idea, Seth. That's weird. He also says down there, remember to give a like, guys. That's right. There's 93 of you watching and 27 likes. Reach down there and click like, guys. I'm going to stare. I'm not going to answer any more questions. I'm not going to look at the questions until that like timer comes. There we go. 5 likes popped in. All right. What is your 1 rep max deadlift squat bench that we have video proof of? Well, you've seen me deadlift 605 with calibrated plates multiple times in the last training cycle. You've seen me do 625 at a charity event, which was a true max. I mean, my bench is down. You've seen me squat 515 with calibrated plates without knee sleeves on, without it looking like a max, legalist. So, I mean, what do you think? Now, I do need to get my bench back up. It regressed a lot, but it was due to recovering from my shoulder impingement that cut. The most you've ever seen me bench within the a year ago, 352 on a closed grip with calibrated plates. Remember me, I struggled with biceps. Could you recommend 5 sets of 8 to 10 bodyweight reps on chin-ups or 5 sets of 5? No, I don't recommend 5x5 on that at all. 5x5 is for novice lifters, Cliff. It'll beat you up if you're not a novice. What is your advice to young kids whose parents? I don't give advice to young kids. Now, if they're an adult, then why are you worried about what your parents think? If you are an adult, if that's what you mean by young kids, like you are legally an adult, why do you give a single fuck what your parents think about your training? Like, are you attached to mama's titty still? She needs to pop the titty out of your mouth and let you be a man. What's your take on RPE guys saying you should create an adaptation rather than force an adaptation? It is argument for I can't even follow. I don't even understand the question. You confused me. I have high creatine levels, so not sure. That's what came up in my blood work. Could be from resistance training. Yes, Jay, it is from your resistance training. And doctors know that. Jay, if you tell your doctors you lift weights, they're supposed to account for that on the blood work. My traps are growing too quick. I just started. How do I make my arms catch up? Joseph, your traps are not growing too quick. Shut up. Your traps are not big if you just started. You're a novice. There's no way you have big traps. Hey, coach, curious, what are you listening to in the headphones during the streams? No, I just have the headphones on in case sound comes through because it's a habit I tend to do when I'm working at my desk. I have music or other stuff going on because I don't have speakers on this computer. I choose not to. Can we increase our shoulder width just with lateral raises? Should we be doing vertical pressing alongside bench press? I don't know. 6 one way, half a dozen the other. Paul Riley, former client. Hey, Jason, to join the content, is there any benefit for running 5-3-1 over conjugate if the person has no intention of competing? Paul, I'd argue if you're going to compete raw, 5-3-1 is actually might be more important than conjugate. I mean, if you actually wanted to compete, it's higher specificity. The benefits are psychological and mindset. It depends on the individual. Is the nutritional benefits of free range eggs versus battery farmed? There's no, oh Lord, you must be British. You're clearly British. We don't have these problems where I live. I don't even want to address the ethics of British factory farming. I'm not anti-factory farming at all in any context personally. I think it's a great thing. But free range eggs usually are a little higher in omega-3s. How often should a beginner be adding extra weight to each lift every week? Lincoln, you follow the program. Lincoln, you should never have to ask that question, because if you don't have 10 years of experience coaching other people, probably, you shouldn't write programs. So you should be following a pre-written program that tells you already, a proven one that tells you how often to add weight. Therefore, you shouldn't need to ask the question. Alex, no, I don't want to. I don't believe in that. No, I don't follow full body for anyone but rank novices. You see any elite lifters training that way? It's got to be really hot down there in Texas. Lives in Copenhagen. It's even too warm. You like to climb in England? No, England was like a frozen, rainy wasteland. Are slingshots any good for bigger bench? Not really. It's Mark Bell's hype. When is it appropriate to add face pulls and lateral raises? I've noticed most of your clients don't do them, Marco, because we probably don't need them. If we're doing enough pulling, it may not be necessary. All right. I mean, if you can knock out 15 pull-ups and you're 200 plus pounds, what benefit do you think you're going to get from those movements for the posterior delts and everything? Do you really think they're going to add anything to what you're capable of doing? Minimally, maybe if you want to. I don't think they're that necessary. Because again, think about the overload you're getting. Or in my case, you've seen me do 22 pull-ups before my meet. I was still weighing like 211 that day as I was about to ease into the full water cut. You really think I'm going to get a benefit from that? I mean, really? And I mean that as a serious question. Been cutting for a while, and strength on lifts is starting to plummet, impacting me psychologically. Thoughts on doing main lift variants instead of progress? No. Adjust your cut. What do you do for your shoulders on 5-3-1 3 days? Luke, I already told you, bench press and pull-ups. Coach, can you please read my last super chat? I thought I already did. Effergy, didn't I answer it? Oh, there it is. Can an intermediate advanced lifter make optimal gains lifting twice a week? Well, what do we mean by twice a week? Do you mean 2 workouts a week? Probably not. Do you mean a muscle group twice a week? Probably. Is stuff like tennis court basketball good GPP? Typical GPP is boring AF to me. No, those aren't true GPP. They're cardio. They're more endurance. They're not actually GPP. They're not intense enough. You have to have a resistance component to be GPP. Do you think stretching and increasing flexibility helps strength? I don't think stretching increases flexibility, and hyperflexibility causes higher injuries when put to serious strength challenges. Your flexibility should be matched to the specifics of the sport you're going to compete in and the activity you're doing. There is zero benefit to being more flexible than is necessary for the activities that you're going to do. What do you compete in? And if all you plan on doing is squatting and deadlifting and benching, then you only need enough flexibility to get below parallel on a squat. I think Legos may have been what's your highest list and caught. Well, kind of irrelevant, John. I'm about to blow all that out of the water coming up. Don't worry about it. I can lift more than most of those right now. In the past, you promoted overhead press and delt work if your goal was to get an old school Greek statue type of look, but that wouldn't be my goal, Cliff. But lately seems you take a lot of overhead press out. Cliff, I just don't think it's necessary to build delts. I don't think it's that necessary. Most people who have big delts just get there by getting leaner. The basic lifts for most guys will probably build them. And if you really want a little more, you could do some upright rows or laterals. But honestly, I know plenty of guys who just got real lean and got good at benching and chin ups and rows and stuff who have big old round capped delts. If you really and truly are obsessed with making your delts look big, lose body fat. Hey, coach, I'm having issues with wrist and elbow pain when I'm racking under the bench. Other than wrist, you mean wrist straps? Ivor, why aren't you using wrist straps? You're benching heavy without wrist straps? You're doing any heavy pressing without wrist straps? You clearly enjoy wrist pain. You don't see me doing that. The best wrist straps in the world, the ultra high hardcore powerlifting ones, cost $25. Get some. Now, as far as the other stuff goes, your technique sucks. If you're getting wrist and elbow pain, your programming is bad and your bench technique is bad. And without looking at it, I can't tell you how to fix it. Follow more of the advice on my channel, brother, but there's something wrong. I wanted to reduce the chances of noise complaints when purchasing my home gym. Is there any disadvantages think about when using bumper plates? No, not really. They'll cut down on that. What is the best ways to protect lower back apart from injury from lifting correctly? Don't overtrain and use exercises to build your low back. Hey, Jason, how many mags do you recommend a person carry? I'm going with a Glock 19. I can always carry 3 extra mags. Would you recommend chucks or barefoot for deadlift? Go ahead and use chucks. How many meals a day now that you're cutting Casper? I only have a 6-hour feed window, so it's just like a continual stream of food. I mean, it's like 3 or 4 meals roughly in there. Every meal has like 100 grams of protein. Hey, Jason, what do you think of Hatfield squats? They're nice in theory. They're just hard to track overload because you're holding on to a thing. Hayes, I got something for you. What do you think about barbell back squats? You should try those sometimes. You can track overload. They're a contested lift. You know how you stack up against other people. There's no subjectivity in how much your arms are helping you lift or not. Does body weight factor into the reaching intermediate levels, for example? No, we don't use multipliers ever. Nobody uses multipliers. And if your body weight's the issue, here's the thing. If you're 20 pounds away of muscle mass from being an advanced lifter, why are you trying to stay 20 pounds under your potential so that you can stay in a lighter weight? Well, you're stopping yourself from being an advanced lifter. Lincoln, I'm just going to ban you for that really stupid question. Would I rather live in North Korea? You're gone. You're a fucktard. Do you have specific numbers you want to hit in comp before you get too old for your class? Alexander, yeah. Oh, yeah, 700 deadlift, 400 bench. Coach, are there, we're getting buried. Luke, benefits from benching twice a week instead of one. The biggest benefit, it chews your shoulders up more. You don't see a lot of long timers in the game doing high frequency benching. Why do you think that is? Legalist, yeah. I mean, you can go through and see all those. JB, my brother had 2-year layoff from the gym, but is now looking to get back in. He previously made great progress in your first fitness program. Should you run them again or jump? Terry, he should probably run a 3 to 4 week fast linear program of any type. He should go ahead and throw in supplemental work for what he knows were his previous weak points and then go on something like 531 after a month. So true about the deltoids. Using body fat will cover most, like Jason said. What type of rows do you recommend to increase deadlift strength? That is not a straightforward question. It depends on what type of programming. Is buying Bowflex adjustable dumbbells worth it on a program like 531, boring but bigger? Would you recommend the 52-pound ones or the 90? You better get the 90-pound ones. Have you read the book Rebuilding Milo Busco? No, I don't. I'm not even interested in Squat University. He says so much dumb shit that I'm not interested. And it doesn't matter that he has good information. He makes really stupid tweets that make me dislike him, that make him sound like an idiot that doesn't know anything about training, even if he is knowledgeable. That's the problem. So because he behaves that way, I'm just not interested in supporting him in any way. How can you think UFC GOAT John Jones able to be the best at his sport while partying hard, using drugs and alcohol, and not taking his training? Well, William, because the guy squats over 500 pounds and deadlifts 600 pounds, so he's strong, even if he's done those things. Now, he'd probably be even better if he didn't do that other stuff. Okay, life isn't fair. Okay, some people are just that genetically better than we are at certain things, and they can get away with stuff that we can't. How much would you say someone cutting on 531 should increase the weight from each cycle and upping the bench over press? Daniel, if you may need to stop adding it all until you finish your cut. I don't know how fast you're losing strength on your cut. That you need to, I almost need to be coaching you full time to answer that question. Like, I don't even have a set rule for clients. I literally monitor them week to week. Jordan, no, I don't have experience with that SIG model. Why not just use it? Exactly. There we go. All right, Lo, it's not even funny to joke about that at this point, to be honest. I might accidentally ban you not realizing you're joking. Be careful. What's your opinion on Michael Hearn's general style of training? I don't really have an opinion on it. As a late novice, how much of my time should be spent on hypertrophy training? 90% of it. I do all my benching without wrist straps, and I do not feel at all in pain, maybe because of my age 22. Luke, because you're young and maybe you're not that strong yet. Good body weight for someone who wants to be as strong, big, healthy as possible at 5'10". I don't know, 200 pounds. That is so extremely strong for any guy, let alone a master's lifter. What, Alex, some of my numbers? Yeah, actually it is. People downplay that. I don't think they realize the strength level of most masters lifters in competition. I am way above average. Like, I'm not even in anywhere near the bottom 95%. And I don't think people quite grasp that, because they see certain records and they don't realize that there are like 20,000 masters lifters who can't hang with me, who compete. Coach, are there any other athletes that eat rice, broccoli, etc. for breakfast, or is it just a personal? John, I'm on keto. Where did you get that? John, all the breakfast chats were filmed last year. I haven't filmed a single one of them in 2022, and I still have like 30 of them that haven't been uploaded. I told you guys that quite a few times. Luke says, thanks for all the years of videos and information. You are most welcome, brother. John Jones has been caught multiple times for PEDs. Yeah, but he's a pro athlete. It's assumed by default he's on PEDs. How does that make him any different from anyone else? All you're saying is he's dumb and he can't do math. Like, that's all it is. A drug test is nothing more than an IQ test. Guys who fail them are just probably not very intelligent. They're not using less drugs than the guys who pass. Just started lifting about 4 months ago. I'm 6'1", weigh in at 174. I'm training correctly. Barbell bench press, dumbbell fly. Really, dumbbell flies? I don't know if you're training correctly. Preacher curls? No, preacher curls chew your tendons up. Bail, just go with 9mm unless you have a reason to do the others, even though I do like 45. Advice to people stuck between weight classes. What do you mean? Water cut down to your weight class. James, if, let's say, for example, you walk around at 210 and you're stuck between the 198 and the 220, do a water cut and compete at 198. Do you want to be competitive or not? Like, if you're asking me a question like this, it means that you want to be seriously competitive. Well, then that's what you need to do. Melatonin is actually a very strong antioxidant. Yes, it is. Have you ever thought about doing a live stream with some clients? I don't know how, Paul. Do you guys agree that Mike Israetel from Renaissance Periodization is the king of YouTube fitness? Oh my God. No. Legalist, I'm going to ban you for implying that I'm not. You don't get to post here anymore. Bam. So bench press for front delts and wide grip pull-ups for your side and rear delts should be enough stimulus. Sure, you're strong enough with enough volume. Yeah, for most people. I mean, Marco, there could be exceptions. Marco, I don't know your personal genetics and weak points, but I would say that for a pretty good chunk of people, yes. Unless you really want overdeveloped delts. But keep in mind, most guys with overdeveloped delts are pinning them anyways. Jason, for a novice, do the differences between 3 sets or 5 sets both to failure? Boran, why are you training to failure? You clearly don't follow my channel, right? You don't follow my channel if you think training to failure is good. You clearly do not watch my videos. I am very against training to failure. Jason, would you agree that in order to look like you lift on the internet standards require 1 gram of trend minimum? No, I think to look like you lift by internet standards, you can get away with 500 milligrams of trend. You might need a gram of test with it though, and you probably need to be real lean, like definitely under 10% body fat. I asked the 5 through growing cutting questions. All the main lifts for me are around 5, 6, 3 at the top set, just for clarification, and the lifts aren't dropping off. Yeah, you could bump them a little. Do you believe in direct heuristic? No. Nope. In fact, they found at Westside that it actually can hurt your grip, your ability to deadlift. Jason, I compete at boxing at 165 and I cut 5 pounds for my same day weigh in. Do you think for health reasons I should move up to the 178? The next class also I can continue my strength gains. Yeah, I mean, if you can gain the muscle, you should, and go to the next class up. How tall are you? Hey, Jason, what is your opinion on the C2 ski bike? I don't know what any of that means, man. What? Nicholas, get a sled and drag that for conditioning. A what? C2 sky bike? What in the fuck are you talking about? Bent over rows versus pendlay rows for hypertrophy. Is one better than the other? Will they give similar results? 6 one way, half a dozen the other. Is it true that higher rep sets lead to more muscle growth than strength gain? No, not necessarily. Isaiah, you can't really separate hypertrophy and your strength ceiling. Anything that makes you bigger will raise your strength ceiling if you gain the neuromuscular efficiency to go with it. Tips on flexibility. I've already covered that earlier. Is 45 more practical 9mm self-defense situations? I was going to get no, probably not Bale. Although I am a big fan of both cartridges. Would you say split squats are a good long-term alternative to bilateral? As an alternative, no. As a supplemental lift, yes. What wrist straps should I get? The brands I endorse are SBD, Titan, Elite FTS. I'm wearing SBDs right now. Hey, coach, recently tore my pec and my BJJ and had surgery for it. Been going through PT. Any tips, mindsets, training-wise, for recovering from an injury? Take it slow. Take it slow and get your range of motion up. Speaking of IQ, a survey found that people who obsess over celebrities have lower IQs on average. That is absolutely true, Mark. Anyone who obsesses over celebrities probably has a below average intelligence. I would say the same for people who obsess over YouTubers. Also true. Any tips on fat loss? Yeah, Marco, in other words, if you actually know the whole thing if you know the name of Will Smith's wife and whatever their nonsense or how many affairs they had or whatever, you probably have a below average IQ, actually. And I'm not even trying to be a dick, but it's true. And yeah, people who obsess over celebrities are usually dumb. Any tips to lose fat for people that love tasty, calorie-dense food? Everyone loves tasty, calorie-dense food, Simon. Fill up on other stuff. Vegetables, water, protein are your friends. As a hobby lifter, do I need more than the basic 4 lifts and maybe pull-ups and dips? Yeah, you should do a little bit of supplemental work just to shore up weak links, Stefan. All right, a little bit. You need to look at where your weak links are. It would behoove you to do some stuff like maybe some extra hamstring work and stuff. Hey, Coach, I'm thinking about making a YouTube channel, but I heard that AdSense has tanked. I know you have a pretty successful channel. How much did the YouTube pay you? John, it's not worth mentioning. Like, honestly, I make most of my money on coaching. Since I dropped current events, I would say my YouTube only makes about $25,000 a year. My coaching makes way over double that, possibly like triple that. How bad is canned meat? Currently my main protein source in the field. I don't know this necessarily bad. I mean, as long as it's a high quality meat, just be aware of the sodium intake and make sure that you're getting enough water to flush it through, and try to add some potassium to your diet if possible. But a lot of the meat itself is high in potassium. Can front squats be a supplemental lift for back squats? Yes, they can. I'm cutting food at the moment. It's currently at 171.9 pounds at a height of 6'1". Ooh. I don't know that I would be cutting at your body weight and height. Like, do you not have any muscle? She put some size on and then cut. Do you like the crow's grip floor press for building? No, I don't think the closed grip floor press is that great. And they even Dave Tate found that it doesn't really work that well. I've heard him speak on that in the past. It doesn't even seem to carry over to your bench, unfortunately. Jason, isn't it disappointing that you can be a fitness influencer and not even squat 315? I just saw someone with 500,000 followers and he failed. Wow. No, that person shouldn't even be giving lifting advice. Unless it's a girl, then that's. I mean, I think it's okay if a girl fails a 315 squat. She put the effort in and almost got it. That's pretty solid. But are we talking about a man? No, he shouldn't be giving lifting advice at all. Jason, I'm 5'8", which is tiny for my class. DEXA has me at 10.4% body fat. I have Ethan. So I remember your other question. Do you got room to grow? Especially if you're 10% body fat, you can definitely come up to the next weight class. Slow, careful bulk. Yeah, you can absolutely get there. Coach, a while ago you had videos about small amounts of alcohol having performance enhancing. I don't know that I agree with that. The problem is the downside is the recovery end and the load on your body and liver. I mean, it could interfere with recovery. Yes, alcohol is a very powerful fuel source. Very powerful fuel source, but you're going to pay a downside in toxicity in your body. It is literally a poison. It is a poison that your body has to use recovery resources to filter. Hey guys, how come there's 126 of you watching and only 69 likes? I'm going to stare at this like button and I'm going to ignore the questions till I see some likes roll in. There we go. There's one. Come on. I'm not going to talk to you guys till you like. There we go. 13 more popped in. Let's get back over. Any nutritional aspects to minimize, I'm not saying that word, symptoms that you have heard of? Thank you, brother. Vitamin D, vitamin C. But here's the thing, Greg, you need to get your immune system up before that. You need to get your immune system up before that. It's kind of too late after the fact. Although, let's come back over to the symptoms. What's the biggest problem everyone describes who's had it, including me? Water tastes like crap. You don't want to drink. You get dehydrated. Getting water and salts in is the biggest thing you could do. When wearing wrist wraps for pressing movements, you say to keep the loop around your thumb or not? I've heard people doing both. Daniel, it's fine to keep the loop around. In competition, you have to take it off. So when you bench at a meet, you have to undo the loop. It's just the rules. There's no benefit to undoing the loop. It's actually a pain in the butt to take it back off, but you're required to by meet rules. Luke says IQ is a relevant factor, but it's just how a thing you're born with. Saying two other people that have a low IQ is a low IQ. Luke, no, not in that case. Like it literally, people who obsess over celebrities are dumb. We're not talking about all IQ things, and we're just talking about people in general. And yeah, there have been studies looking at that. They just tend to be dumb. Intelligent people don't usually care about those things. Do you think we are experiencing the end of the United States right now? No, not. I think, well, yeah, we're probably going to have a civil war, to be honest. Texas is probably going to leave America, by the way. Do you think guys with a lot of forward lean on squats are at risk of overtraining their low back? No, Ralphie. Why would they? Low bar squatting with a forward lean is easier on your low back if you keep the bar midfoot, which is the idea. That's why you lean forward, right? It's proportionate to where the bar places to keep the bar midfoot. It's actually easier on your low back. Why would you think it's more low back? What brought on the big change to 531? Oh, John, I don't want to cover all that again, man. I got videos talking about that over the last year. I failed a 315 squat, was a 22-year-old man. Yeah, but Alex, you're not trying to post videos teaching people how to train as a profession. I watched your video, Ice Cream Fitness Novice Program 2.0. Would you suggest that to a newbie with 4 months behind him? Yeah, possibly hidden. Luke, flexible or stiff? Luke, you want stiff wrist wraps. The stiffer, the better. Canvas, no elastic. I use the ultra stiff canvas, longest that are allowed in competition. Hey, Jason, do you like bands for bench pressing? For speed benching, for my conjugate lifters, I do. Outside of that, I don't have people use them. Also didn't make it clear as an amateur, we don't weigh in the day before the fight, so we have to weigh and fight. So I'm very careful about dehydration. I'm 27.8, but bouts are not at a high level. Yeah, Ethan. So I mean, you're limited to basically about 3% of your body weight. All right, 3 to 4% of your body weight, if you're careful about it without any loss of performance with a 2 hour. So if you have 2 hours to rehydrate before the match starts, that's about what you're limited to. Does building a big bench carry over and usually give you a big overpress future? It actually does seem to. I knew a guy, actually a YouTuber, we kind of fell out. He's got a smaller channel than me, who was benching over 500 raw. He hadn't done overhead press and decided to try it out. He doesn't overhead press at all. He put 225 on the bar and cranked out a set of 10 like it was nothing. Without even practice, he doesn't overhead press. It carries over. Do you think reps higher than 10s for quad focus exercises are necessary for max power? No, they're not necessary. Reverse sled pulls to bulletproof knees. No. Who cares about the knees over toe guy? No. You want to bulletproof your knees, Bale? Build your hamstrings up. Learn to squat in a way to where your knees don't slide as much. Once you power squat, that is actually easier on your knees. But build your hamstrings is the best thing you could do to bulletproof your knees. Do your sled drags a normal way. Get your conditioning up. What kind of routine do you use as a warm-up before opener at your meets? I do singles with a lighter weight. So hybrid, what did I do before my deadlift at this meet? I pulled a single with 315. I pulled a single with 405. I pulled a single with 455. Then I walked to the platform and started lifting. I did 3 warm-up reps. That's it. That's how I train, by the way. When you guys have seen me pull 600 plus, that's exactly what. When I pulled that 625 at the charity event, I did 1 rep with 315, 1 rep with 405. And then when I went to the platform, because they were doing a ladder, basically, last man standing, they just kept adding weight until people had to drop out. So I pulled 500 for my 3rd rep, 585 for my 4th rep, and 625 for my 5th rep of the entire day. That's how I warm up. Why would you need to do more than that? How do you think you warm up for a max lift? How are UFC fighters able to withstand such pain during a fight? I don't know. Are bands and chains good for bench pressing if someone's sticking point is off the chest? Josh, are you using it for sticking point training? Are you doing it for speed work? Josh, I don't think you understand how accommodating resistance and dynamic effort works. Have you got more energy doing the keto thing? Yeah, I personally have more energy. Notice how energetic I am now. I'm on keto. I actually feel better mentally when I do keto. I always have. To clarify, I don't think it's necessarily low bar squatting on boring big. I'm leaning over pretty. Okay, Ralphie, your forward lean is determined by your foot placement versus your bar placement. There is no right or wrong forward lean. There is only correct forward. There's only, are you keeping the bar midfoot? You shouldn't have a single degree more or less forward lean than is required to keep the bar midfoot. It sounds like you don't know how to squat. All right, send me an application for coaching. I'll fix this shit. Jason, there is now a trend on TikTok. I've never watched TikTok. Of guys claiming the back squat is bad at building quads and promoting only leg press squats. Well, Alex, those people are idiots. Hey, Jason, I've seen your recent video about how lower back training, and I was wondered if my erectors get ungodly sore from a few submaximal conventional deadlifts. Would erector accessories be useful? Absolutely. Yeah, you need them. Have you made a program hidden? I have multiple novice programs. There is an entire playlist on my channel. Most of them are appropriate. Depends on how much you're eating and sleeping as to which one you pick, your lifestyle. Coach, can you please set my friend straight and tell him to raise his standards? I'm telling single mothers and girls who use drugs are totally bottom of the barrel, but he hasn't heard me. Doug, I have learned this the hard way. Doug, I've learned this the hard way. Although here's what I'm going to say. Single mothers are okay if they bring a lot to the table, right? Oh, but a lot of single mothers know that. Like they better be able to cook, and they better lift and be in shape and have their shit together. Then that actually works okay. But if they don't, and definitely if they use drugs, like, again, guilty. I have made that mistake myself, and I paid the price for it. Paid one hell of a price for it, even into my professional life. Yeah, if she uses drugs, drop her like a bad habit. Same goes for girls. If your dude uses drugs, even pot, drop his loser ass like a bad habit. Jason, how much difference should there be as a general rule between your deadlift and your RDL in terms? There isn't a general rule. What exercises are good for forearms? Pull-ups, rows, deadlifts, dead hangs, hammer curls. Thank you, Jason. Appreciate the advice. The majority of the boxing trainers are very against training. Really, Ethan? Why would they be? Since when? Maybe those aren't very good boxing trainers. Like bands and chains, Josh, we don't use max effort training to train our weak points. That's not the purpose of max effort training. So why would the bands or chains even be a factor? Okay. The max effort lifts that you pick have nothing to do with training your weak points. You probably shouldn't run conjugate. You don't understand conjugate. I'd pass on the program till you get a better grasp of it. And no offense intended, but you don't understand the conjugate system. Probably shouldn't run it till you understand it better. Opinions on squats for developing of the mind and mental toughness for an athlete. Thank you for answering all my questions. By the way, I think squats are great for that, particularly rep squats. Why does dating single mothers seem like a bad thing? Well, because a lot of times you're stuck in a situation to where if she's not bringing a lot to the table, like, look, if she's a great woman and brings a lot to the table, it's different. The problem is that you're looking at the possibility of raising another man's kid, paying for another man's kid. She better bring a lot to the table. And it's that simple. And it's not saying that they should be off limits. It's saying that she better be above average, right? Because that's a strike against her, because you are looking at, if you get long-term involved, of raising and paying for another man's child. Now, if she brings a lot to the table, okay then. Last week, one guy, obviously on steroids, told me not to deadlift because it will make my midsection thick. Yeah, he's wrong. Coach, have you thought about branching out with other channels? Nope. Yeah, Snip, I don't want to do all that because I can leave that to tiny amounts of the live stream. I'm not interested. My channel will be about strength and strength primarily. How long do you usually leave between? Raj, I don't have such rules. I mean, I tend to start my feed window pretty early. So, and since I don't train till 7, just to wait till neighbors are awake and out and doing their thing. So that I'm not just, or it is already loud outside due to lawn people and traffic and stuff. I mean, it might be 3 or 4 hours, but even if I woke up later, I might eat at 5 o'clock and then train at 7. I don't think it's that important. Is it true that being at a very low body fat will give you a more direct and in-your-face personality? No, Casper, that's absurd. They're old school, don't want you lifting. Yeah, they just sound like a bunch of trainers who are 50 years behind the research, Ethan. They're probably not good coaches. Coach, if selling plasma can affect gains? I have no idea. Maybe ask a doctor. Jason, have you ever come across some non-responders to training? I remember SNP, there's a tiny percentage. But here's the thing, you can't help those people. They're something like 3% of the population. I haven't come across one yet. Luke asked, can I deadlift the day after I did my squat day? You could, but I would never program. Luke, if you were my client paying me, I would say, hell no, you're not doing that. Can you do it? Sure. You damn well better not do it as one of my lifters. Is that a fair answer? Are there specific limb links that are beneficial for squats as opposed to deadlifts? Trejo, I've done entire videos in detail that are like 12 minutes long answering that. Right? You can find them. I don't want to spend 10 minutes of my live stream discussing limb links for the squat, bench, and deadlift. especially when I've got independent videos on it that discuss it in vast detail, even how body fat affects different lifts positively and negatively. Do you believe in intra-workout carbs for higher volume sessions? Nope. There's no evidence to support it. Rav, how many carbs do you think you burn in a workout? I want you to answer that. This has been studied. Doing 10 sets of squats, how many in an hour, how many grams of carbs on average do you think you burn? It's less than 20. You telling me you can't eat 20 grams of carbs before you go to the gym? You can't manage to squeeze in 20 grams of carbs a couple hours before you lift? You can do that even on a keto diet. Thoughts on direct neck training for a wrestler or BJJ practitioner? I think that's a real good idea. Neck training has been shown to reduce concussions in contact sport athletes. And all BJJ guys I know do neck work. All of them I know. Any good use for trap bars? I know you don't propose trap bar deadlifts. Yeah, weighted carries. How much of the whole training non-responder thing is down to nutrition and not eating enough? Callum, it isn't. The 3% of non-responders don't gain any muscle or strength. So Callum, if they started a 65-pound bench press for 5 reps, and that's where they start, you can train them for 6 months. You can have them bulk and gain 40 pounds of body weight. It will be all fat, and their bench will still be less than 70 pounds for 5 reps. They literally will not respond. It is actually a documented subgroup. They won't even possibly respond to even the best coaching in the world. But anyone who's ever gained any strength, like if your bench went from 65 for 5 to 90 pounds for 5, you're not an exercise non-responder. You just probably aren't eating enough and you aren't even remotely training correctly. The non-responder won't even put 10 pounds on his bench from lifting and bulking. Jason, what are your thoughts? The evidence-based crowds that say deadlift doesn't help hypertrophy. They're not evidence-based. Snip, I would tell them how many studies have looked at the deadlift hypertrophy and how many of those studies showed enormous amounts of hypertrophy. If they can't answer that, they're not evidence-based. Deadlift in the very limited studies that looked at hypertrophy showed an enormous, ridiculous amount of hypertrophy doing only deadlifts in novice lifters, not even doing other lifts, just the deadlift. Thanks, Coach. All the difficulties you've overcome has put into perspective the work it requires, having multiple health conditions. You're an inspiration. Only YouTuber I watch. Time to go to the gym. I appreciate it, brother. Hey, Jason, hope you're well. Probably a basic question, but I've been researching a lot and procrastinating. I'm 6 foot tall, 290, pretty overweight. Will strength training cut fat or should I add cardio? Super Hans. Strength training will help keep your metabolism higher, and it will make sure that more of the weight you lose is fat and less of it is muscle. If you want to lose fat, you need to strength train, and it will keep your energy, your metabolism higher. And again, the weight you lose will be a much larger percentage of fat. Cardio, just walking more, but it's mostly diet. Raj, I appreciate the donation, and I'm glad I was able to help you with your questions enough that you felt like it was worth donating. Jason, is resting time between sets same for big multi-joint? XR, let's keep the terminology correct. I don't use the word compound in isolation. Multi-joint, single joint. And what do you mean accessory? Multi-joint can be accessories. Is it your primary lift? The dip is an accessory. The dumbbell bench is an accessory. Those are multi-joint. Is resting time the same? Yeah, generally, unless you have a reason to cut it real short, like you're doing speed work or something. Thank you, Jason, for the advice. I hope you don't think I'm trolling. No, Ethan, I didn't think you were. They believe it's very easy to have excess muscle. They are only amateur coaches and trained a few Olympians. And yeah, Ethan, no, I didn't think you were trolling because I do know coaches, old school coaches from certain sports who believe that. What about trap bar shrugs? What do you think of that exercise? Why would it be as good as a barbell? You're limited to one plane, one grip. You can't even find the most comfortable grip. You're stuck with that wide grip. You actually would be better with a barbell. Have you noticed that people who dirty bulk and get fat sometimes end up getting bigger than people who lean bulk? Future, sometimes actually. After they cut back down, it does happen sometimes. It's just not healthy. It's not ideal. I've never said it doesn't work. I've known guys who bulk to 300 pounds who, when they cut to 200, were monsters. I'm talking like competing in the 198 in powerlifting were just absolute monsters who had bulked to like 300 and got really fat. It's not healthy. That's my only concern. It actually does work. It's just you don't want to walk around at 32% body fat for 2 years while you're bulking. It's just not good for you. Hunter, I appreciate the donation, brother. Jason, I had a bodybuilder tell me I needed to perform 3 bicep tricep exercises minimum for my arms to grow. Yeah, Alex, what an idiot. Look at my lifters. Look at Isaac. Isaac does 1 bicep movement, 1 tricep movement. The guy's got 18-inch arms. Okay? He's drug-free. Biceps and triceps are not that complicated. Find one movement that works it slightly different than your multi-joint exercises. If you need the extra work, problem solved. These are very simple muscles. Thanks, Jason, for all your knowledge throughout the years. I've changed my workout selection and never been stronger. No machines, all free weights and barbells. There we go, brother. Do you think Trump will win in 2022? Probably not. I'd consider voting for DeSantis if he runs in 2024. I'd say he's got a good chance of winning. What are your thoughts on the approach of Paul Kardashev doing 5 to 10 hard sets on push-pull leg system, simply doing a double progression? I don't know about the double progression, but Greg, kind of what do you see me and some of my clients doing these days? About 10 sets, push-pull legs, because I have a squat, bench, and deadlift day. For the most part, I'm in about that 10 to 12 set range per muscle group. I'm not far off from what Paul's saying. Now, if they're really hard sets, will what Paul's saying work? Yeah, you can get pretty damn big. And you probably won't overtrain or overreach doing it. So Paul's not entirely wrong there. And I'm not saying I 100% agree, but does it work? Yeah, it will actually work. It will actually work. Coach, I've been a successful personal trainer for several years now. Do you have an advice on where to park your cash in order to build it for the future? Stocks, mutual funds, index funds, real estate? Put it in property. Swan, barbell shrug, hit my notes when I do them. That's why I don't do them. Well, learn to tuck your junk better. Or Sack, just do enough gear and maybe they'll shrink and it won't be a problem. To be fair, people like Dr. Mike don't say the deadlift is bad for hypertrophy. It provides a ton of stimulus, gives you a ton of fatigue. Depending on the context, it may not be optimal. Dark Eater, he says that, but a lot of people say it doesn't. So it's not Dr. Mike, it's a lot of others. Dark Eater, I would argue that if you know how to program the deadlift, the stimulus to fatigue is fine. It's an issue of programming if people don't know how to program it correctly. And I'll agree, if people are doing limit sets and stuff or doing really heavy 5s on the deadlift, yeah, he would be right. It's going to be a problem on the fatigue end. Program it the way I do, and then you blow up on it, and you don't overtrain. Getting back into lifting after being detrained for about 9 months, late intermediate numbers, but I'm 20 to 25%. Should I eat at a maintenance? Oh man, if you're 25%, I would say go ahead and go on a slow cut and just trim down a little. Trim down a little bit because you're going to regain muscle. Just keep your protein really high, and because of detraining, you'll probably gain muscle in a small deficit still. You can't run a big deficit, but you will recomp through there. And so you'll lose body fat relatively quickly. Get yourself back under 20% just for health purposes, right? That would be my advice in your specific situation. A lot of times I tell like the skinny fat guys to bulk, but in your specific situation, I think your health and fitness will improve better if you go into a very small deficit, lose just a little bit of weight while you're rebuilding the muscle, eat a lot of protein, and you will recomp. Most people can't. You can recomp in your situation quite effectively. Hey, Coach, what are, in your opinion, the best tricep exercises? Any sort of extension to where you get shoulder extension involved along with full range of motion of the elbow. So behind the head extensions with an easy bar, a straight bar while laying down, doing them with dumbbells. I think closed grip benches, dips, all those. Hey, Jason, massively appreciate all the top quality content you put out. I'm currently 5'3", and usually an Excel bar but the upper body primary lifts to work on grip. Stupid or good? No, it's not a bad idea if you need the grip. Although I will add to that other thing, press downs are actually good mainly because they're so easy on the elbows. You can handle a lot of them. So they also work good even if they may not be set per set quite as high a quality. They also don't beat you up. So I wouldn't discount those either, whether it's with a cable or with bands. How many reps on plus sets before increasing training max and what percentage? Mike, I usually, ideally, before I make a significant training max bump, I like to see about 10 reps on the fives. And I like to see close to 5 reps on the 1+ for my lifters, if we're going to run 5-3-1. Thanks so much, Jason. I haven't worked out since the C word started and they have shut gyms. How do you feel about a 3-day week full body just for the first month and then go into a better program? What? No, Benny, I did not. Coach, did you watch that video of the guy dropping a 45-pound plate on another guy's face during dumbbell pressing? I didn't see that one. Usually these accident or videos I've seen when you guys ask me. This one I haven't. How do you program weight training for someone playing in an adult basketball league? I stick to the big movements and simply only train when I feel recovered from playing conditioning work. Doctor, I program it around what I think their recovery will look like. Right? I base it on their recovery. Like when I have anyone who competes in a sport, but it usually ends up that we don't lift more than 3 days a week on average. Anyone who's doing a sport, another sport on the side, I very rarely have them train more than 3 days a week. I don't know about the stroke volume thing. Sorry, Nancy. Hey, Jason, I'm looking at your playlist right now. The playlist called Ice Cream Fitness Novice Program. What would you suggest for beginners? There should be one that's free programs, right? There should be one called free programs. There was a study showing there was no difference in recovery comparing squats to deadlifts and trained lifters. Yeah, rookie, probably some truth to that. Do you still do higher up band stuff and reverse hypers on off days? No, I haven't been doing reverse hypers off camera. I haven't been doing band work, but I think I'm going to start doing a little bit more band press downs on off days. I do a lot of GPP. I would just work it into my GPP if I do. 190 kg times 8 deadlifts today, which is my best so far. And I've cut down to my lowest weight in years as well at 174 pounds. I think your advice of not doing crazy volume all the time has helped me. Thanks. I'm glad to hear it. Coach, I know you used to cut. No, I didn't. Jay, no, I didn't cut on 4,500. You meant 3,500. What do you mean age? You mean I went from 44 to 45? Damn, man, in that year? No, I was cutting on 3,500. I'm under 3,000 calories right now, right? And it's because I'm at a much lower body weight. And there's going to be, some energy turnover because I don't have all the NEAT from all the higher food intake, right? The longer you sustain a high food intake, the higher your NEAT goes. Well, hello, Lacey. You don't mind benching only once a week now? Why should I, Jim? I have multiple friends who bench press over 500 pounds who bench once a week. Multiple friends, people I know. Jason, I just dieted straight up for 280 to 200 pounds. I picked up lifting weights when I got to my lowest weight. It made me very hungry, and I gained 15 pounds in 4 months. I'm not really sure what else you're asking there, brother. Thank God, Coach, I had a meeting right when your stream started. What percentage of college-get athletes do you think are on gear? Probably pretty high in today's competitive environment. What training split, if you were looking at 3 days a week, would you suggest for someone training BJJ 3 to 4 days a week, or could you get away with 4 days? No, dude, not BJJ. Well, wait, you're training BJJ 3 to 4 days a week. You might be able to get away with 4 day, but I mean, if you're going to do that much rolling, I still think you should possibly drift towards 3. Can young people who lift and work out usually get away with eating some more junk in their future? Depends on appetite. I mean, if a person is a hard gainer, absolutely, because hard gainer means low appetite. If a person's an overeater, they're going to get to 300 pounds trying to work in a little junk because they're going to get hungrier. Right? That's the problem with junk food, is that it makes you hungry. It makes you eat more. That's why we get fat on it. It makes it hard to hit your calorie intake because you want to eat an extra 1,000 calories every day. Right? For people who have a high appetite, eating junk food just makes you hungrier. So if you're trying to eat 3,000 calories, you eat 4,000. Jason, do you think lactose-free milk? I don't think milk causes acne at all. Running 4-day conjugate, missed a 480-pound deadlift right below the kneecap. You need to bring up your hamstrings, Tyler, or your lats, depending on if it was a bar position miss or a strength miss. But why are you missing lifts? Don't the best coaches now in conjugate tell you to do 90 to 92% training maxes? How could you possibly miss a lift doing that? Are lateral raises and high pulls better side delt builders than overhead press? Yeah, but we could argue if you need side delt builders at all. At this point, the only time I do reverse hypers is after very long drives causing my back is sore. Sometimes it can't be, I don't understand that point. Wording was bad. Coach, have you ever been recruited as a strength coach? Of course, John. That's why I do it independently, because 37 D3 schools have tried to recruit me at $100,000 a year salary. Are you fucking kidding? Where do you guys come up with this shit? Anybody know any good wrist straps? SPD, Titan, Elite FTS. Thoughts on grip, dead hangs for grip training? I advocate it all the time. In reference to high rep band press, I tried doing JM presses about a year ago and it caused elbow pain, not extremely severe, but still affects me. Would the band extensions help? Yes. Lacey, why did you try to do JM presses as a novice? Oh no. Yeah, your elbows are going to hurt. You're going to have to actually get rid of the tendonitis that you caused. Don't do JM presses unless you've done band work for your elbows for at least a year, guys. Do you use chalk on all your heavy training deadlifts? Yes, Ever. Why? What? Why wouldn't you? Do you want to cut your hands open? The only reason to not use chalk on a deadlift is because you want to rip your hands. Okay, the reason we use chalk is to reduce hand tearing. You know that, right? That's the actual reason. To reduce hand tearing. That's why you use chalk. It dries the sweat. It doesn't actually make your grip stronger. Camden, what do you think if I ban you for asking me stupid ass questions about celebrities? Didn't know you do lives now. First, I've been doing them for weeks. I have like 25 of them up. I'm not going to answer questions about the COOF vaccine. Jason, would you prefer face pulls versus dumbbell rear delt flies? I'm only in 5. Alex, I can't even do face pulls. They hurt my shoulders, I found, after that impingement. They're painful for me. Rear delt flies if you're going to do anything, but it depends on the person. If face pulls feel great to you, by all means, knock them out with bands if you think you need them. Hey, Jason, you think it's important to have raw veg in your diet or cooked veg? Cooked veg is fine. No, it doesn't remove nutrients. It can increase bioavailability at the same rate. Do you coach anyone in the military? I have coached 3 different people who were active duty in my coaching career so far. One of them was Navy Search and Rescue. One of them was Air Force, have an analyst job, and I've coached 1 Army Ranger. You have seen an Army Ranger in an Army Ranger gym that doesn't allow non-Rangers to train. If you look in the gym, in my training collage, figure out which guy it is. He is a Ranger. Didn't dairy kick you out of keto? I'm doing keto, but I'm not drinking dairy. I do cultured dairy, like Greek yogurt or cheese mostly. Jason, have you ever lost clients by showing them tough love or being 100% honest with them or calling them out on their BS? Yes, I have. Shoo, I've also fired clients for being fucking pussies who don't handle the tough love and don't listen to what I tell them. I have fired clients also. So it works both ways. How do you think your mental state would be like if you had to work out in your local commercial gyms again? Alexander, I don't like hypotheticals. Thoughts on Ender's new $100 knee sleeves? I don't know what I think. I haven't tried them. I've heard they're pretty good though. And if they do have carryover, then yeah. Gustav, obviously I'm still cutting. Jason, are you in contact with Alex Viada these days? Yes, I am. Yes, I absolutely am. And I like Alex. Alex is one of my homies. Coach, what advice would you have for young guys wanting to go into strength coaching? Learn everything that you can. Start coaching people for free to learn skills. You're not qualified to coach anybody for your first 2 years for money. Tyler, I appreciate the donation. Since you're a native Texan, what's your opinion on Texas A&M University? Just moved to Houston from Florida and plan on going there next year. Hope you don't mind the random questions. I don't like a lot like that. Texas A&M's great. It's a great university. Depending on your major, it may actually be your best choice in Texas. On high rep band press downs for elbow tendons, is one set of 50 to 100 reps enough, or should it? No, I mean, if you do that every day. Jason, do you think drinking a carton of egg whites is fine and I can digest them with easier protein? Probably okay. Although, yeah, since they're pasteurized, you'll be fine. Okay, we don't have raw eggs, by the way, in America. It's not legal to sell you raw eggs at a store. So they've been pasteurized. So all this malarkey about that 1998 study on raw eggs, there's only that one study. Those eggs were raw. We pasteurize everything you buy at the store. The data would tend to suggest it's not a big deal, even if we want to argue the egg yolks would help with the raw egg absorption. It's a point of nuance. It's fine, though. What would you do if you weren't a strength coach? I don't like hypotheticals. What's the max number of pull-ups you've ever done? Jim, you've seen me do 22 on camera a few days before my meet. It is on my channel. Count them. Would Bulgarian be a good way to hit a 405 bench if my current max is 350? I'm not a weight. No. Dude, don't do Bulgarian. I appreciate your time, Jason. Just a last question here regarding your free training program. It's confusing for me. Is there a specific video? No, hidden. I don't know what's in those old playlists, but I know I have one. Most common problems for people who have lost weight and hit a wall from losing more. Yeah, it's just diet adherence is the problem for you. The problem is your appetite's probably going up, and you when you hit a wall, you're probably eating more than you think you are. All right, you're eating more than you think you are. Jason, I think you're the best channel on YouTube for strength and hypertrophy. I appreciate that, brother. People got to appreciate all the free information you're giving us right now with no charge. Absolutely, brother. I don't charge for this. You know, the donations are nice. I'll make ad revenue on it, and my real money is the coaching. But you know what? Future, this ends up growing my coaching business stuff anyway, so it's all good, right? It's all good. Everybody gets stronger. In the long run, I end up making money out of it. So it's a win-win. And I like that idea. I like win-wins. I like situations where everybody gets to win. That's always the best scenario, where everyone takes something away from it. Hey, Jason, I pretty much stopped lifting and started climbing. Oh, I don't like you already. I'm not answering your question. You quit lifting. Is 140 kilograms good enough for a deadlift? 61 kilogram out? No. Hey, Coach, how was the omelet this morning? It was pretty good. How much do you get out of knee sleeves? At least 20 pounds, I think. Is there a ghost behind you? I see movements. Donnie, are you fucking retarded? All right, hidden. I suggest doing Jason's linear hypertrophy program. Yeah, it's a decent one. How should someone avoid weight training when trying to maintain current weight of 175 and still get stronger, not necessarily bigger without gaining? No, man, it's not going to work. How are you going to get stronger without gaining muscle? Why are you trying? You're shooting yourself in the foot. What are your goals? Right? If you need to stay 175, then you need to cut, then bulk again. You can't go over 175 for some reason, but you're not going to make gains sitting at the same body weight. That's a bad idea. Jason, what do you think of pre-exhaustion by trainer? Okay, what do I think, or what does the research show? Well, truth, every study that's ever looked at pre-exhaustion found that it produced less hypertrophy than just doing normal training. Every single study. The guys who are big, who promote pre-exhaustion, would get big doing jumping jacks because they're all on 2 grams of test, a gram of tren every week, and about $2,000 worth of growth hormone every month. That's why they get away with that silly shit. In every study ever looking at it, it produced less hypertrophy. So what do I think about it? I think it's fucking garbage. And every single study that ever looked at it agrees. Your trainer is a moron. Coach, I'm a natural lifter and have been seeking content geared towards naturals. Does natural. You are banned, troll. I usually get my eggs directly from a farmer back home. We had chickens and ducks at the house. These eggs are amazing duck eggs. Lacey, if they're not being pasteurized, you need to cook them though. Thoughts on the 125 Raw Sumo? Jim, why do you guys ask me questions about current events that have happened more than 12 hours ago? You already know it's been asked in every single live stream. What do you think I think about the strongest raw deadlift ever passed in a powerlifting meet in the entire history of the world? What do you think my thoughts are? It's really fucking strong. It's the strongest deadlift in recorded history in a legal powerlifting meet. So I mean, what other thoughts am I supposed to have other than it's the best deadlift ever done raw in recorded history? Yes, Donnie, there's totally a ghost because I have a ceiling fan on because it's super hot in Houston that's blowing air. What do you think tall novices should do to avoid low back pain from squatting? They need to build their low back and abs. And the guy who asked me about nucleus overload, I think Megan is an idiot. I used to call Megan out 9 or 10 years ago for being a complete clown and not knowing basic physiology terms. And I think everything he makes up is silly and goofy. And I think he's below average intelligence. That's what I think of nucleus overload training. I don't see any, even though I quit watching YouTube fitness years ago, you don't get more intelligent with time. So he was an idiot back then. I don't think he gained 25 IQ points in the last 5 or 8 years. So, and I really hate that name. I think it's the stupidest name I've ever heard of for a training style. Why did he just call it ultra high frequency training? I might be wrong, but Mike Israetel, well, then I detract all my statements that Mike Israetel follows research as an intelligent person, if he actually did. Benny, I retract my statements in the past that Mike Israetel is intelligent and research-based, if he actually did that. Is that fair? I don't know that he did, though. You need to prove it to me. No, I'm not really frolics with Alexander Bromy, brother. Do you use that hyper extension behind you? Don't know, but I have it in case I ever want to do it. Where do you draw the line? I don't. It's a gray area, and we adjust volume accordingly. Given your connection with the industry, have you ever heard of what Mike or Hearn's drug dose wise in terms of ASS choice? The guy is insane, but I'd love to know his stat. BJ, you can't look at him and tell? You clearly don't know much about anabolics. I can guarantee you, looking at Mike and watching him over the years and looking at his hairline, Mike probably uses Pharma Test, Pharma Deca, and FDA grade growth hormone. Like, do you really need to be told that? Man, you need to get on top of your gear knowledge. With speed bench, do we pause and then explode up or drop it fast and explode? It depends on the lifter. I vary it between lifters. Thoughts on spiking blood sugar before athletic activity? If you're capable of spiking your blood sugar, then you're not athletically fit. You can't do it if you are fit and in shape with a high insulin sensitivity. Do you think everyone should go through bulks and cuts every year? Or is it dependent on the person? No, future. Only people who want to make gains should. If you're 100% happy with your performance, strength, and your physique, you're perfectly content to say, I don't care about making any progress at all. I want to stay at my current body fat, size, and strength, and it's okay to maintain. For anyone who wants to make changes, they need to bulk and cut. How do you usually program 45-degree hyperextensions for clients? If you do rep ranges, usually, 10 to 15 reps with RPE. For a person cutting from a high body fat, over 40%, and what body fat percentages should they slow their cut, or is it based? Someone at 40%, we shouldn't even be discussing when to slow it. Right? Till you get to 20%, we don't even need to have that conversation. Please prove that you have a left pinky, Jason. Otherwise, you lied and flip-flop. That's how crazy the questions and some people ask, Jay. It really is. By the way, here's my left pinky. I've got a right one too. But it could be fake. I could be lying. It could be fake pinkies. Is DeFranco's West Side for Skinny Bastards a good program for late novices? I remember it being, but I haven't looked at it in about 10 years. Jason, did you used to cut on 45? Come developer said that was from years ago. Jay, I don't even recall ever having said that. Okay. Keep in mind, I don't always keep up with knowing what my calories were doing different points 8 years ago or something. So I don't have an answer for you. Since I don't recall having said that, how am I supposed to answer your question? Why are you shaking, Coach? I'm not. I'm just going to ban you for being weird with these weird questions. You're gone. Just sheer fat-free mass index difference is a reason why huge powerlifters strongmen eat like double what the IFBB pros. Yeah, they're just bigger. Honestly, my guess looking at O'Hearn was that he's using Test Primo MVP, but the stack you described is entirely possible too. Never thought about this. I don't think Mike probably doesn't use Trend. Jason, how do you train for maintaining current weight and strength? I don't want to get bigger or stronger. Doctor, you shouldn't need to ask that. How did you get to your current size and strength? Keep doing those exact weights, reps, and sets. Jason, any ideas on high SHBG? I'm not ketone meeting a surplus in my age. I don't think you can't control that. Why worry about it, Callum? And if you're worried about your SHBG, I assume you're pinning test, because otherwise you're not getting all that stuff tested if you're not pinning test. If you want more free testosterone, pull the syringe back a little further. What's the least amount of bulking time you'd recommend? I don't think that there's a rule for that. Hey, Coach, any tips for making cut easier for those with huge appetites? Thanks in advance. People with huge appetites can't do flexible dieting. You need to follow some sort of structured eating plan that cuts out your binge foods. You need to make sure you get lots of water, protein, and vegetables, right? And for people with huge appetites, don't keep junk food in your house. Don't keep junk food in your house. Sam, that is not the good way to free up tests. That is the most inefficient way possible. That's ridiculous. That's why bodybuilders are stupid sometimes. All right, guys, we've been in here an hour and a half. It's now 2:00 my time, so I'm going to go ahead and wind this down. I hope it has been informative. I hope you guys have enjoyed it, and I will talk to you guys next time. I love you guys so much. No, Texas doesn't have any type of bears.